Hey Wargamers, we just got done doing the HQs for the Orks Codex. We're going to be moving on to the Elites. This is actually a pretty important group of units. Elites seem to be in most armies. First we're going to go with Knobs. Knobs, it goes boys, Knobs, War Boss, and then special character of some kind. Knobs are those middle guys that kind of keep the low-ranking boys in line. So, a squad of Knobs, like I said, sometimes I take them in a group of with a War Boss and a truck of some kind. You can take them as bikers. Again, I don't do bikers at all, but I've seen that they've been pretty effective. They're extremely expensive, though, for what they are. A Knob by itself is 20 points. Throw a biker on there, you're looking at 45 points. And then from there, big choppas, and I mean, just a pain boy by itself on a bike is 75, 75 points. That's a lot of points for an orc to be stuck into a bike. Keep in mind, orcs are a horde army. You need lots of them. Having these elite, super elite units, they'll just be a big target. And the good news about orcs is that there's no head of the army to chop off. Each group kind of has their own thing that they can do, and the whole synergy like Eldar and Tau have, where units have to coexist and work together for the greater good and all that. Orcs essentially want to get there as fast as possible, kill as much as possible. The orc boy or the Knob or the War Boss next to him, they want to brag to him, so they're going to get into battle as fast as possible to kind of kill everyone first. They want to be the first ones into battle. So, backing up to Knobs. They have a ton of different items they can get. They can get bikes, they can get assault grenades or sticky bombs, 1 point. I hope in the new codex they just include that. Knobs, for 20 points, you should just have sticky grenades. Let them have it. They're initiatives too anyways. You might as well have it. Big Choppa, 5 points, strength, I think it's +2. Yeah, Big Choppa is +2. The AP is still not great, but strength 7 is decent if you have a big Choppa in a group, if you don't want to spend the points for a Power Claw. Power Claw is 25 points, so 45 points for a Knob with a Power Claw in a Knob squad. I would say maybe 1, maybe 2, depending on who you're going to take with them. If you're taking a War Boss, take 1, or now there's no sergeant in a Knob squad, so challenges you don't have to do unless you bring a like a War Boss or something. So having a couple extra Power Claws might be worth it. Points are a lot. I don't know, it's tough. It's how you play. You can kit out a Knob. Everything to do with Knob is how you play as orcs. Whether you're speed freaks, you're slow and purposeful, or whatever you want to do across the board. So, big Choppas, I usually carry a couple of big Choppas in a Knob squad. 5 points, get 3 Knobs, strength 7. You can insta-kill some Imperial Guards. And then, you know, strength 8, actually. So, their strength is 4, plus Furious Charge. So +1 to that is 5, +2 is 7. So you can't insta-kill Space Marines or anything, but still Imperial Guards, and it does some damage. Tanks, helps tanks. Strength 7 against rear armor 10, makes it much easier. And Knobs, they get 3 attacks. On the charge, they get 4. 4 attacks. I mean, a big Choppa, strength 7, 4 attacks, or a Power Claw. That's pretty good. Even a Knob by itself in a squad of boys, it's pretty good. I like him a lot. Twin Link Shooter, I thought about running a squad of 10 Knobs with Twin Link Shooters. I think it might be kind of a waste of points. But again, if you're trying to save points in a group of boys or in a group of Knobs, I would say either do a Combi Scorcha or maybe a Twin Link Shooter. Probably Combi Scorcha. The Wall of Death. Orcs always want to, they're always the best on the attack. If they get attacked, Their strength isn't the greatest, especially boys. So having a wall of death or like 2 or 3 combo scorches would kind of divert someone from really assaulting them. And they're really good in close combat. And then they can get heavy armor. Usually don't give that to a squad of knobs. Individual. Boss pull. If you're not running a war boss, then yes. Usually you're gonna have a Gazgul or a war boss in there, so you don't really need the boss pull. Wog banner. It's actually pretty good. If you're playing a little higher game and you got a good solid squad of knobs and like a battle wagon or something, I'd probably throw it in there. That extra weapon skill is pretty good. So that means you're hitting most everybody on 3s. So now you're going from 50% hit to what? 4 of 6. So pretty good odds. I mean, it's getting up there. Again, ammo run? Nah, I wouldn't take it. Pain Boy? I would, if you're playing around the 12 to 1500 and you're doing a war boss and mega army, you're going a little cheaper, I would do it. I would include a Pain Boy. It's just an additional thing. I mean, they don't have the greatest save in the world. I mean, if you had him in a Mech Boy group, so he'd have a 5-up cover and then a 5-up feel no pain, that's pretty good. That's a really good save. 33 and 33 back to back, that's a good combination of a save. So, again, adding cyborg bodies to everybody for 5 points, I wouldn't waste the points. Everyone knows who plays Orcs, you're gonna lose people. The good news about knobs is they have 2 wounds. And toughness is 4, so melt is insta-kill them, but normal Space Marines. And there's a trick. Wound allocation used to be really, really cheesy with knobs. But now you can still move them and situate them in certain ways that, let's say the knob in the front takes 1 wound, well, you just kind of have them maybe only go 5 inches instead of the 6 of someone else moving out in the front, and try to wound allocate that way as you move across the board. But usually I throw knobs in a truck or a battle wagon. They can take trucks or battle wagons as dedicated transports, so that's nice. Once we get to, we'll cover battle wagons later on, but I rarely ever fill up my heavy support with orcs unless we get up to like the 1750 to 2000. And once you hit 2000, you're double force orc anyways, so it doesn't matter. The main restriction I ever see with orcs is the elites. That's the only area I can see that really restricts orcs. It would be nice to be able to take like 2 or 3, probably like 3 war bosses or 2 war bosses and a mech or something, but for now, elites is the main choke point for an orc army. Next we're going to go over mega knobs. Here's a mega knob that I was actually building for a client. This is not a Game Workshop Mega Knob. I don't really like the Game Workshop Mega Knob, and they'll probably come out with the new ones as the new codex comes out with whoever. This is actually a, was it Cromlech from Poland? I did an unboxing the other day, maybe about a week ago. Not a lot of people use Mega Knobs. I don't get it. It's a 2-up knob. It's a Terminator with 2 wounds. Doesn't have an invulnerable. But a 2-wound Terminator, pretty good. I usually run them with a war boss or a mech, and then they have their invulnerable. Well, not invulnerable, but a cover. It's extremely effective, tough to take down. A group of 4 has 8 wounds, 2 up, and if your dice is rolling really crappy and you roll like a 1 out of 4 or 5 dice, you only took a wound. And then the whole wound allocation thing I was talking about before with knobs, just shuffle them a little bit and you'll be fine. Most of the time, okay, the combi rocket, again, I'd never take it. If I take mega knobs, a group of 4, usually 3 or 4. If I take, let's say, 4 with Gazgul or Warboss or something, I'll at minimum do 2 combi scorches. You've seen in my battle reports where I do all 4 combi scorches. I think from now on I'll do 3, just in case they blow up the truck and with oncoming shooting they kill one of the Mega Knobs. It saves you 5 points, but who cares? I mean, a strength 5 template from 5 guys, or 4 guys, well 5 including the war boss, which I usually take a combi scorch at, is just devastating. And then what? You charge in, and then you have power claws. You know, who cares if they go first? I mean, it's power claws. What, strength 9 on the charge? That's crazy. Wounds 2, attacks, they're knobs. Like I said, there's only like boys, knobs, and war boss. So they're knobs. They have 3 attacks. So 4 on the charge. So they have 4 strength 9, AP 2, 2 wounds. They're amazing in close combat. They just wipe through people. The downside of them is they're 40 points. Like I said before, usually orcs go in mass numbers, cheap units, don't put a lot of energy into it. This is the one exception, I think. If you have 4 Mega Knobs, that's 160 points plus 3 Scorches. It's 175 points, and a truck, 35, so 175 to about 210 in points, just in them. You go 24 inches with your truck, let them blow up the truck. They're gonna have to deal with this unit. They're gonna have to, and they're gonna have to put a lot of attacks into this. Unless it's like a Vindicator or something, which has a short range, you just stay away from that guy. They have to deal with this unit, which gives everything else time to move up. Your boys, your Death Copters to come in from the sides. You know, your Ludas get 1 turn, maybe about 2 turns of people not shooting at them directly because the Mega Knobs are just right there in your face. You can't get around them. They're one of my favorites, if you haven't already tell, from battle reports. I include them a lot. Next we got Burna Boys. So this was actually converted from a fantasy orc. I just used the 40k arms on because the pack of Burna Boys come with Ludas, and you gotta have Ludas, so I use the Ludas and I convert boys into Burnas. So it's actually a really good kit. The Luda kit, everyone has extra boys. I mean, I have well over 100 boys. So you can always, you know, chop 5, 10 of them up in a Luda pack and make more Burnas and Ludas. Everyone knows the infamous the Burna wagon, where you drop a template, times it by however many guys you got in there. It's pretty death. And they tried to limit you can only kill so many in a certain range. Still, 8 inches off a vehicle, you can still damage a lot of people. Plus, if you actually make one of the Burners into a mech, that extends the range of your unit to 24 inches, which pretty much gets around that whole rule, that FAQ, if you roll it at the same time. So make sure you roll it at the same time. If you roll it separately, then you got to do it separately. But if you just roll it in the same time and having not like a tournament where they get super picky, you'll be fine. So Burners are nice only in a wagon or a truck that gets them there. They have only an 8-inch template. The only other time I've used Burna Boys would be Aegis defense line, where they're the first ones in, like, you'll have the defense line, you'll have the Burnas right behind it. I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 Burnas. And then you'll have your other group of guys behind there, and essentially they have to assault the Burnas first, and then you'll just get a crazy wall of death. So until they shoot them down in the front, that's the only time they'll be able to assault over the Aegis defense line. So I've only used that once, and it worked pretty good. It was against Space Marines. They shot them. They killed like 2 Burna Boys. They passed their morale test because I believe like a mech was with them or something, and then they tried to assault with assault Marines, jump troops, and they just got I think it was like 8 wall of deaths against them, including the Scorcha, the Combi Scorcha, the mech. So that's a strength 5, and these are strength 4 flame templates. Pretty effective. With Burnas, I haven't ever made them slug a choppa, big shooter, a rocket, and I never take a Grot Oiler. Custom Mega Blasta. If I know I'm going against somebody that has heavy Terminators, I might. I just don't like that gets hot roll. I'm notorious for rolling ones when it counts. Next is going to be Tank Busters, or Bustas. Here's the actual Game Workshop model. I have, I believe, 10 of them. At first, I really liked these. 15 points. They're the same as Luda and Berna. They're a boy with with a rocket. Their ballistic skill is terrible. They can get bomb squigs, which is pretty neat. You release a bomb squig, and on a 2-up, they rush. I think it's 18 inches, and they crash into the closest vehicle, doing a strength 8 hit, which is pretty nice. And you can take up to 3. Hold on. And the squigs are actually pretty effective. Again, you got to be close to them though. 18 inches, but people forget about them. I don't really play with the squig models. Sometimes I'll just set them out there as like during when it happens. I won't actually do more models to move. And people forget about it when you tell them that you have bomb squigs, especially if you put them in a battle wagon. That battle wagon with the death rolla, you're going to be charging towards vehicles anyways. So, you know, they're just crazy. The one thing that's a bummer about Tank Busters, which is probably why most people don't use them, is the Glory Hogs. They just want, I mean, they got rockets. We're one of the few people that actually have rockets, and they're really excited about having them. So they want to attempt to shoot and or assault an enemy vehicle if there's one in line of sight. Regardless of range, if there's no visible target the Tank Busters may select a target as normal. So if a Tank Buster sees a tank, however far away, it's got to move, kind of like a Mad Doc. It's got to move towards it, try and assault it, try and shoot it. And how it's read here, or how it's written, it doesn't look like it has to shoot at it. I have to check the FAQ, but all it says is that it must attempt to shoot and or assault an enemy vehicle. If there's no one in line of sight, regardless of range, there's no visible target, the tank may select a normal target. So if it's out of range, you have to attempt to shoot at it, which then would go back to like the pre-measure rules. So even if you know it's 72 inches away, you have to attempt to shoot at it, which you're going to miss it because it's out of range. So now with pre-measuring, I assume that you just know ahead of time for sure that it sucks, yet you're well over 24 range. So now the good news is that it comes with Tank Buster bombs, and if you're playing a non-vehicle army, like Tyranids for example, where it's just monstrous creatures, no vehicles, or not even the possibility of having vehicles, these guys are good. I like them because there's no vehicle in line of sight. So you can drive around in a battle wagon, which I used to do, and I think if you actually no, I only did Instagram pictures of that of the battle report, but you can literally drive around in a battle wagon or a truck, most likely a battle wagon because you don't want to get blown up, because they are a lot of points. They're 15 points. You just drive around with like 8 or 9, maybe 10 of these guys in a battle wagon and shoot 10 rockets, AP3. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're AP3. Yeah, AP3 at monstrous creatures all day. You'll take out Termagants and spaz them out, spaz out all the Termagants next to them. If something pops up underground in your backfield, just turn around and start rocketing them. They're pretty good against the monstrous creatures. If you feel that your friends are more a because you know 6th edition's kind of like nerfed vehicles. Tank busters can actually come back, because now if you feel that there might be one vehicle but you kind of place them in a way where they can't see them, where you can freely shoot at other people, like if you're in cover and that there's no windows in the building that shows towards a vehicle, but yet you have full rain against a whole bunch of troops or assault troops or somebody trying to sneak up, good unit. I like it. 24-inch range. Bomb squigs, I already said, those are kind of, this is fun. That's just fun. Bring 5 points, it's fun. Tank hammer. It's a strength hit against the tank, but you gotta be an assault. I don't see, I see these guys as being a priority target, kind of like Ludas, so I highly doubt you'll get in close combat, so I would just stick with the rockets. I wouldn't even go with the hammer. If in doubt, have maybe one hammer, just in case they don't fully understand what these guys do. But yeah. Alright, with that being said, move on to Ludas. Probably the most important... Probably the most commonly used / most important in the elite choice is Ludas. The amount of shots these guys put out per model, it's 15 points, strength 7, AP 4, and they shoot out D3 shots per model. So you run 10 to 15 of these guys, you roll a 5 or a 6, that's 3 each. That's 30 to 45 shots, hitting on 5s and 6, which they're boys in a big gun, and wounding pretty much on 2+, forcing people to do armor saves. Like Fritz, he's a YouTube channel. He always talks about the volume of dice, and if you can put, 45 dice, 2 6 or what, a third of those go through. Let's do 30 dice. Let's do 10 hits, 10 to 12 hits, and then you wound on 2s, so you might have maybe 1 in there, so you might actually have like 10 wounds, 9 to 11 wounds on somebody, let's say Space Marines. You're forcing them to take those armor saves. Even on a 3+, they're gonna fail 3, 4, 5, probably 3, anywhere from 2 to 4 of those. In a squad of 8 to 10 Marines, that's going to devastate a squad. And you might even include a sergeant in there, or some sort of specialty weapon like rockets or heavy bolter. Ludas are great. I usually take them in groups of 10. 15 if I'm just feeling, if I know a building can actually hold them, I'll take 15. For the most part, 10. And I'll either line them up on just the back edge with good spray, or in some sort of building to get some sort of cover. If you're far enough away, you don't need the cover, because they have, I believe it's a 72-inch range. I'm sorry, 48-inch range. What am I talking about? So back the line and just shoot over your troops. And they do have mob rule, so if you do 15, you can still take a couple hits and be perfectly fine. Although I have been more effective if I had 15, splitting up in 7 and 8 unit groups, so you'll have more targets to shoot at of the enemy unit, and you have a higher chance of doing better with the rule of averages with the D3 dice. Because I've been times where it's like 3 turns in a row, you roll a 1 or a 2, you're only shooting 1 dice, hitting with 3 of them and wounding with maybe 2, and that's not really effective with Ludas. So sometimes you'll break them up into 2 groups to try and get, one group might get 3 dice, the other group might get only 1 dice each, and it kind of just averages out over time. So that's Ludas. Never taken a mech, never slug a choppa, never big shooter, never rocket launcher, and the oiler again, no. Just take them bone stock, just how they are. And then commandos. I don't actually have the Game Workshop models, and I've only played with them I think once or twice. But here's some a boy I chopped up, because we all have extra boys. I also use him as his snot, what is it, Grotsnick? Oh, Snickrot. Boss Snickrot. Anyways, I put him purple because he's kind of stealthy. He's got a backpack and 2 daggers. He's pretty good. Commandos, they're on the garbage to okay, depending on who you're playing against. They're essentially boys that can pick and choose up to 2 custom weapons, like a Burna, big shooter, or a rocket, and they have infiltrate, which can be good. If only they were like a troop choice or had a special rule that they could actually take objectives, they would be well worth it. Being able to infiltrate with a ballistic skill 2, hitting on 5s and 6 character, is really not anything special. I would never take a rocket launcher with these guys. A 5 or a 6 for 10 points, where he himself is only 10 points, not worth it. You're doubling the points for a third of a chance to actually hit something with a rocket. Not worth it. Burna, maybe, but they actually bumped up the points. A Burna is 15 points. I mean, a Burna by itself is 15 points, so you're adding 10 points for just the infiltrate rule? I don't know. Almost 50% increase. No. Yeah, it's 150% increase on points just for the infiltrate rule. Probably not worth it. When I did deep strike these guys, I did big shooter, because you get 3 dice, strength 5. You have a better chance. You're rolling 6 dice because there's 2 of them. It's only 5 points, so pretty cheap. So you have 6 dice to get. You probably will hit with 2, hopefully 3 if you're rolling right. Good for the day. Strength 5, and you're up front, so you can kind of disrupt what's going on. Maybe if they're trying to do like a rush towards a objective or try to pick off something. Now, it does come with you can upgrade to a knob. I don't see why you would. A power claw, I wouldn't waste the points. If anything, you're just trying to distract. This is more of a distraction unit. So you would infiltrate up into a building that they know they can't maybe deal with for a turn or 2, where you can kind of just mess with them. Or put them somewhere off in the corner where you have easy access to do line breaker if you needed to later. If they actually survive. I doubt they'll survive. When I played them twice, they pretty much got shot up turn 2 because they were annoying the Space Marines that I was shooting at. Boss pull, that would be probably the only reason I would upgrade to a knob, is just the boss pull. And you can also get boss, what is it, snot rot? Snick rot, that's right, snick rot. And he's 85 points, but he actually does some pretty neat things. The only thing that sucks now, okay, he's 85 points on top of 10, so he's 95 points. That's almost as much as an HQ. Probably not worth it, but I've never actually used him. He has 2 daggers that are really nice. He may re-roll all failed rolls to hit and then an assault. He's got ballistic or weapon skill 5, so he hits on 3s for the most part, and he gets a re-roll. That's nice. That's pretty good. His strength is 5, strength 6 on the charge. So you're probably hitting on 2 pluses. So 3 plus, re-roll 2 plus, pretty good. I wish he had some sort of. I wish he would have like a poison, like a 2-up, just to kind of guarantee it. Because then he'd have. That would be amazing. I would play him for 95 points if he hits on 3s, wounds on 2s, re-rolling with a poison 2 attack, kind of like old Zogwart. That would be a good upgrade for him, because everyone's getting a cheese unit. He might be a good cheese unit. Not to mention he does have infiltrate and move through cover, which is nice. When he comes in from reserve, he can move on to any table edge he wants, even the opponent's back table edge, which might be nice to have either 2 Burnas or 2 big Shudas come on behind some sort of anti-troop unit. The only thing that is terrible with 6th edition is you can no longer assault, and I really wish you could have him in some sort of transport, like a battle wagon or something, where he could have a battle wagon come in from the side, move on, death roll of somebody straight up. That would be I would take him almost every game if he did that. And then he does a -1 modifier to the leadership. So not only is he going to be a monster in close combat, his initiative's 3 too, by the way. It's pretty good for orcs, but you know, the standard is 4 initiative, so he's slightly better. And then with the precision shot and the precision close combat, you know, that might be pretty good. So that's Commandos, which pretty much sums up the elites. Kind of a summary. The most important of this section of elites, I would go definitely Ludo's number 1. At least 1 squad of maybe 7 to 10 in there, depending on the level or the amount of points. If it was 1,000, I would go 10, maybe even 15 to really just kind of piss off your opponent, because there's just so many shots. So Luda's number 1. Personally, Mega Knobs number 2. Knobs and Burna Boys would be 3, and if you're playing Tyranids, I think Tank Busters would be near the top, maybe after Luda's, because Strength 8, AP 3, and then Commandos is definitely at the bottom. I've only used them twice, never really been effective. I've never used the boss, so maybe I'll experiment now that I actually have a model for him, but we'll go from there. So anyways, that was the elites. Thanks for watching. Next we're going to be moving on to troops. Happy wargaming.